evening, everyone, and welcome to our candidate evening. Each candidate will be given 5 minutes to give a brief bio or vision, whatever they choose to speak. They actually will be timed, so they each get 5 minutes. After the completion of everyone speaking, we will have a 15-minute question and answer period from the audience. So our first candidate, prospective candidate to speak with you is Amador Liput.
Thank you, Ronnie. My name is Amador Liput. I've been in the district over 20 years. My wife Caroline and 5 kids. We love the beauty and the serenity of the area in the small school district. So in 1994 we bought a house here, and in 2006 I was asked to run for the school board. I won as a writing candidate. And over the past 10 years, I've been involved in a lot of organizations and held a lot of positions. And being a school board member is one of the most rewarding of all those experiences. So 2 of the responsibilities of the school board are to hire the superintendent and to develop and to propose the annual budget. So I was on the board that hired Mr. before, and I have to say in all my years here in the district that he has been the most effective superintendent that Eldred has ever had. As to the budget, the budget process is of many months of looking through line by line what changed from last year and what we can cut for this year. We do that every year. We take a fresh look at each budget. And if you go back to 2009, you will see that our budget from 2009 to the one we're proposing this year is only going up 1% in 7 years. And inflation in the same time has gone up 10%. So we have done that through a number of cost-saving measures and give-backs to tax levy, 1% over the 7 years, and inflation has gone up 10. I was thinking about how people that look to move into the district will compare or rank Eldred with other schools in Sullivan County. So I asked my friend Google, and you would find, if you do this, Eldred is ranked number 1 in high school and college transitions. So this takes into account SAT and ACT scores, participation rates, graduation rates, and percentage of graduates that go to college. Eldred is number 1 of the 8 schools in Sullivan County. Google also says Eldred has the 2nd lowest cost per student in Sullivan County. So if you take the district budget and you divide it by the total number of students in each district, we are the 2nd lowest, second only to Liberty. You'll find that Eldred has the 2nd highest academic rating in Sullivan County, and that would be based on test scores. It is second only to Sullivan West. Sullivan West, when you look at cost per student, spends about $7,000 more per student than we do. Now I know that academic ranking is based on standardized tests, and this board included signed an opt-out measure taking power away from standardized testing and giving it back to local teachers and parents. But we can't change history. For people looking to move into the area and wanting to look for a ranking or comparison of Eldred with other schools in Sullivan County, this is what they'll find. This is the only available metric to them. We've also created 2 new pre-K classrooms because we know that education starts at the beginning. I myself have founded the Interact Club for high school. It's the Rotary Club for high school students, so they can experience service, both in the community and internationally. I just established a scholarship from the Rotary Club, $500 a year. It's the service above self-scholarship, and it rewards students that show service. So some of my goals are to continue to improve by keeping the budgets low while providing the most for our students, ensure that we have local control of our classrooms and oppose the state and federal mandates that come down. We have to continue to meet state requirements to have their funding, and certainly want their funding. but we want to empower teachers to become more creative and innovative in classrooms. And that was part of the reason for the opt-out resolution. So I've been here 10 years, but 10 years is not enough. So I ask you for your vote so I can continue to serve you and improve the Elder School District and make it the best district that it can be. Thank you.
Right on. Our second speaker tonight will be Adam Engel.
How are you? I've been living here since 1992. And my main focus is to do stuff for the kids, the staff, which is also our community. I haven't seen much change of clubs or anything of athletics for the district, and I think I would like to see some change for the future. Everybody talks about the kids going to college, but what do we do when a kid isn't made for college? What are we guiding them towards? I don't think that there is anything out there that they're actually showing or helping them. I want to see the transportation department stay. I want to see all the departments that are here, because everyone that works here lives here. Anyone that gets unemployed is going to hurt our economy here. So, one big thing is that the current board is using up our reserves. We keep using that, there's going to be no job, no district here in the future. Can't afford to keep raising taxes because people can't afford it. It took forever for the veterans just to get their little tax exemption. And if the taxes go up, that exemption is going to be nothing to them. So it's pretty much giving them something and taking it away. So the financials have to be looked at big time. So pretty much I'm just for mainly the kids, the students, and staff. I'm for all of it. And it's got to change. It's got to change because a lot of people have left the district. The numbers are down. The transportation department doesn't even make enough money to even get health benefits for their family, which is sad. So it's got to change. We should have money at least to give them benefits. But that's pretty much it. I don't take too much of your time.
Our third speaker this evening is Joanna Dutcher.
Good evening. I've called Sullivan County home my entire life. When we were looking for a permanent place to put down roots and raise our children, my husband and I knew we wanted to stay in Sullivan County. There are so many wonderful communities. We researched school districts and went to school functions. At each function, there were families cheering on their kids. But in the Eldred district and community, it was different. Sure, there were families cheering on their kids, but those same families were cheering on other people's kids. Every child was cheered on by everyone. The school report card, yeah, it was great, but it was a sense of community that made the Eldred district the obvious choice for us. I would go to one of my son or daughter's games or functions, and people I don't know personally, before I even get to cheer, they'll be going, "Yo, go Maddie Dutch!" or "Yay Red!" for my daughter for her red hair. I've been an educator for almost 20 years, with the past 15 years at Monticello. And there's a wonderful faculty and staff at Monticello, but I'm thankful every day that my children are educated by the faculty and staff at Eldred. The teachers have high but attainable standards. They help a student learn independence and encourage them along the way. And that is in the classroom and out. There are so many school functions, performances, or games that you will see faculty and staff at. Just at the recent Grease performance, you had Miss Robertson and Mrs. Count sitting in the front row cheering on the kids, and that was wonderful to see. I want to be a part of that district. I'm lucky enough to be a part of the community as a co-coach for the T-ball team, a member of the Eldred Little League Board, a member of the Berryville Arts Association that had a wonderful program this past Saturday, and I get the honor of organizing the program that's going to be in August. I'm a part of the PTA, a member of the Cub Scouts, and I get to meet with a group of amazing ladies of book club. I believe that the Eldred District is great. We have so many positive programs and will continue to grow. I'm committed to that student growth in academics, talents, and community involvement. I brought the idea of EPIC to Mr. DeFore and the school board last summer, and that EPIC has helped to bridge the gap between community and school. I'm a big supporter of the EPIC as it helps so many students in the Monticello School District where I teach. I'm committed to the safety of students and staff. I'm committed to a quality education and strong future for our students. I know that our enrollment numbers are down, but I want to find out why. Why are there so many students leaving the district? Growth must not be a burden to individual citizens with increasing property taxes, but there should be growth. I've been a supervisor teacher for 3 student teachers, and I'm currently a mentor teacher. I believe my strong education experience and leadership skills are required to tackle the challenges of present-day education and the programs that are constantly changing. I am dedicated to addressing these issues for all students, teachers, administrators, staff, and the community. I understand the moral and ethical obligations that come with a leadership position, serving all involved with the Eldred Central School District. Thank you so much.
Here comes Allison Wagner.
Hello, everyone. For those of you that do not know me in the room, my name is Allison Wagner. I am an Eldred Central School graduate, the class of 1998, and I'd like to thank many of the teachers in this room for providing me with an excellent education. In fact, I have some of yours letter of recommendation still from when I went to college. Hopefully for Nick, you're one of them. Just so you know, I still have it in my folder. So everything that you've heard is pretty much accurate. We are in an amazing school district. My parents, when we decided to build here, it was because Eldred was the school district you wanted your children to graduate from. My parents came up from Port Jervis. It doesn't seem like that far, but it was when you were 13 coming to a new school. This school and the community that we came into welcomed us. We were embraced and given the best opportunities that we could, despite it being a small town school. My graduating class, the majority of us went on to borderline Ivy League colleges, if not Ivy League colleges. So I pride myself on the education that I got from this little school. So when it came time for me to have to decide where my own child was going to school, I came back to Eldred. I had gone to a 3rd grade recorder concert, because we know how important those are to 3rd graders. I walked into the auditorium at a much larger school district and realized that I was the only parent. I knew one person. I knew my daughter's best friend's parents, and I said, we can't do this. We made the decision right then and there to come back to Eldred because I wanted her to have the same experiences that I had. I wanted her to get the education that I received. So here we came. For sure, she hated me, but now she loves it. And I thank that in part to all of you. You are the community and the backbone to why we love this and why we came back to this place that we all call home. I do, however, have some concerns. The school is not the same school that it was when I graduated. That's the truth. Whether you want to hear it or not, I'm out there in the community and I am talking to parents. I am talking to community members. I am talking to taxpayers. I'm hearing concerns, which is, of course, concerning me, which has led me to believe that I should be a school board member. I'm hearing issues of why people are leaving our district, and it's because our taxes are too high. So yes, our per pupil spending might be lower than most of the other school districts, but the reality is it's still too high. Our families are leaving. People are choosing to leave their homes in foreclosure because they can't pay our taxes. That's what's going on. I've been talking to parents that are counting down to when they can retire so that they can leave because they can't afford to stay here. There's concerns about our administration. And again, these aren't necessarily my own, but this is what I'm being told from people. There are concerns about our administration. There is concerns about the transparency of the current board. There's a lot that's going on that I think we now need to look at. We now need to look into new creative ways of how do we save money? How do we cut spending and yet not affect the curriculum that we are known for? Because we are known for being one of the best schools in the county. That's what we're known for. And it's a shame to me that we're not at the same level it was when I graduated. I'm looking at the dwindling tax base, which is of course affecting our enrollment. We now have less than 600 students enrolled in Eldred Central School. I had more students in my class when I graduated. There were over 730, closer to 800 students. Yet now we have twice the amount of resources and all of this money that we're spending to educate these students. What are they doing with it? Where are they going with it? Are we preparing them enough for this? Are we giving them everything we possibly can? I really honestly do not think we are at this point. So I firmly believe it's time to get creative. We need to cut things. We need to really have a hard look at our budget. Yes, we have had a very slow increase in our taxes, if any, over the years, but the reality is there's still some, and it's still too much. The seniors that live in our communities do not receive cost of living increases, so anytime we raise their taxes at all, we're taking food off of their dinner tables, and I don't think that we've actually let that sink in. I'm not saying take away anything from the students, I'm saying give them more. But there are other ways for us to give them more. We live in this amazing community, and I've seen us do amazing things when people are in crisis. Look at the Can't Hurt Steel Foundation. Look at the Courage for Carter events. You go to a basketball game or any event for those, and our community rallies together. We support one another when we're in crisis. The reality is our school district is in crisis. In 10 years from now, I hope that we are bigger and better than we are now. But the reality is we are on a course that is not looking very favorable for that. So I urge you to really consider who's the best candidate for this board seat. Do you want someone who's been here for 10 years? I appreciate his years of service, but what is he going to do for the next 5 years? And I'm over my time. Sorry about that. I can keep going. I can talk to the wall. All right, thank you all.
Thanks, everybody. Now, if all the 4 candidates could come back up here, and we'll open the floor to approximately 15 minutes of question and answer. 1 question per person, if we can do that. Okay. 1 second. Does anyone have any questions? Mr. Greenberg?
This is addressed to Ally.
Hello, how are you?
Just made a statement. You said that there are ways to give the children more than what they're getting now. And I'm going to answer that on our limited budget. What are some of the suggestions that you have to give them more?
I've actually been talking to... Oh, certainly. I can talk. I can say that, certainly. Thanks. I've actually been talking to several community members, and one of the things that I think would truly benefit our children is having a mentor program. There are a lot of individuals in our community that would love to open their doors to mentorship, and I think Ms. Doctor can attest that mentoring is definitely a positive thing for all of our children. So I think that that's one of the things that if we ask our community members to step up and assist with, we would be doing our children a huge service. I know that Mr. Gingold brought up that some of the students may not be on the college track college track. So if they're not, why are they not given the opportunity to explore various careers here in our town? We have everything from lawyers to loggers. So why should we not be utilizing them and saying, what knowledge could you provide to our children? And it's a free service. So that's just one of them.
Thank you. Anyone else? Ms. Rose?
Yes. Could I ask Amador, please, to comment, or Mr. DeFore? Well, first of all, we have an excellent mentor program here. If he could answer the question on alternative non-college courses that we have on our reserves. And to the best of my knowledge, our enrollment has remained the same, 1 or 2, hasn't it, for the last how many years? So starting off, alternatives to college programs.
So the BOCES program, the FLOTEC and their Visions program provides on-college training for patients. And I know a number of students in there that don't want to go to college, but they want to go to construction or work on the cars. And it's a wonderful avenue to do that. And that program should be expanded, but BOCES is available to us. And what's the other one?
Are reserves or spending too much of reserves?
So each year, we have, one thing, we have a limit, a cap on how much resources that we can keep at one time. And we endeavor to balance the budget with the taxes. If we're not able to do that, that's when we go to the reserve funds. And we're very aware that that has been dwindling. And this year, we reduced the amount that we want to use in reserves. And we hope to get that to a point that we don't have to use that. But it's used when it's needed. And we're looking at every cost that can be cut right now without change order. And at some point, we're going to make decisions. And if we don't have the income, we don't have to. And we end up using all of the resources.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
So to direct this question to Mr. Wood, since he just answered about the programs that we offer for non-college future children careers. You're saying that we have BOCES. We pay BOCES about $250,000 out of our budget for the classes that they offer. Is that
It varies
correct?
each year, you're correct.
Okay. The community is willing to stand up and offer some sort of insight to jobs for nothing. I'm not saying take BOCES away. BOCES is a fantastic program. I went to it when I was in high school. But is this not something worth looking at?
Sure, everything's worth looking at. But we have a program in place with the training, the teachers, the materials, the tools, the shops, that we know what we're getting out of BOCES. We would have to evaluate any community-based training to see how that compares with what we want to do. But certainly, everything's worth looking at.
Other than the financial stuff, such as the tax and all that, why do you think we have such a, why is the enrollment decreasing so rapidly over the last couple of years?
I don't have an answer for that. I mean, it's a wonderful area. Me and my 5 kids are dedicated to staying here. My son has 2 kids that are going to be in the district. 2 of them are wanting to be teachers and come back to the district. So what other people are saying is
My question is for Ms. Joanna Dutcher. You spoke in your speech about EPIC, and I was fortunate enough to be at the PTA meetings where the EPIC representative was there, but I'm not sure that everyone here is aware of it, and I think it's a wonderful program. So can you just speak about it a little bit? Oh, sure. EPIC, EPIC, stands for Every Person Influences Children. In Monticello, I'm sure a lot of you know that there was a huge gang issue in the buildings themselves. EPIC came in, they showed us how to have different programs grant funded that could help the students find other ways to channel what it is that was causing them to join the gangs, do the graffiti in the school and such. One of the programs they helped to bring to Monticello is the Boys and Girls Club, which gave the kids things to do after school instead of going home and hanging out on the streets. Now, we don't have that type of community here, which is wonderful, but in my 2nd grade class last year, I had a very angry student, and he had the right to be. He had a very, very hard life. He was incredibly angry. 2nd grade, he was on the beginning of kindergarten reading level. EPIC came in, brought in, grant funded a yoga in the classroom program for the year. The student learned breathing techniques, meditation, They came in and they showed us what to do if he gets into a fit, because I can't restrain a student. He went up 2 reading levels. He's in the 3rd grade now, and he's reading on the beginning of the 3rd grade reading level now, although it's the end of 3rd grade, but that's really, and that's what he needed, because EPIC was able to bring us to that through grant funds. I hope that answered it.
Ms. Sosa?
I have a question, Mr. LaFleur. Isn't it true that community members do some type of career counseling? They would have to be fingerprinted and coordinated in corners and probably pick up liability insurance in case one of the kids got hurt in their shop?
That's correct.
So it really wouldn't be free to the community member?
That's true. So they would have to go through what the teachers go through to be certified as teachers or at least as volunteers.
Mr. Plant?
I'd actually like to ask a question and to the can't address it, if that's okay. So I heard a lot of both positive and negative things said. I'm curious if each candidate could tell us one thing they think is going really well in others and one thing they think needs improvement.
I think it's hard to pick one thing that's going well in Eldred. There's so many things that I believe that are going well in Eldred. The fact that when we moved here, it was like, I actually had my neighbor bring me an apple pie, and that neighbor was a member of the district. She is now retired. The fact that the teachers have the high standards that they have, but they help the kids without actually holding their hand attain those goals. The fact that I can call up Mr. Krebs or Ms. Keegan or Mr. DeFore and like I have a problem, and they're probably like, oh, again. So I think that that's a great thing. One thing that I think is something is that I think there's not as much community pride in the district itself. I think a lot of kids, it's, you know, they're great in the elementary school, and then they need something in the high school that makes them want to join the after-school programs, the fabulous after-school programs, and the sports and performances. And I think I would like to see that. I would like, that is one thing I would like to work on, and that you can get through grant-funded programs.
I'm not gonna walk over there, sorry. I think I'm loud enough. You know what, I think that overall, one of the things that this school district in particular does very, very well is look out for one another. Yes, you can call a teacher, yes, you can call a superintendent and ask what's going on with my child today. I do think that that's something that we do have a very good open communication line with our school. One of the things that I think we do need work on is that community pride, but I take it a step further. I say the community engagement is incredibly low, which affects the school pride. You talk to the students, you talk to a lot of the teachers, you talk to the families and the parents. School pride is very, very low, and perhaps it is because there's not much to do, or there are things to do, and we're just not targeting these kids and trying to engage them in the right ways. And if they're not engaged in those things, what is it that they'd like to do? I think that that's something that we're really good at, is having a dialogue. But the thing that we need to work on is that next step for everything. So yes, the community pride, what's the next step? So that's where I come from, is if this is the baseline, let's take it a step further.
Mr. Kinghorn?
It's okay.
The one positive thing is, you know, like they said, the community is the best, that it's small, we all know each other. The biggest thing that I see the problem is if you don't have a happy staff, the staff is our community, and it reflects back onto the students. So if you keep your staff, your teachers, and everyone happy, it flows through everybody. You know, nobody wants to go to work unhappy. We're worrying about the budget, and if the budget isn't approved, someone's going to lose their job. I think if it's balanced right and everyone's happy about what they do and they feel that they're treated right, I think everyone will have more excitement out there for everything.
So I didn't get to fit in my 5 minutes, all the good things did by Eldred. I agree with Joanna and Allison that community pride, community engagement is something that we need to work on. Some of the good things, I get to talk about the uniform STEM club, science, technology, engineering, and math. Udall for this year. We have the Coding Academy. We have the Battle of Books. We have the new 3D printer. A lot of things that are going to help our number of students develop the skills they need for the future. We're anticipating 3 AP classes this year and another 4 that will be available online, and 14 college courses, for a total of 43 credits. That's fantastic. Thank you.
Yes, Dora, at the end of your conversation there about the STEM program, how do you feel about the fact that we don't have physics offered for our high school students here in Elbridge?
We have been trying to find qualified physics teachers for a number of years. So if we have a candidate that's qualified, we hire them. But the truth is that search has been out there, and we're still working toward that. We're hoping this year, hopefully, that we may have some of that research.
Maybe this is being offered this year coming up. Yeah. If your kid doesn't score high enough, it's not going to matter when you go to college. Right? It has to be correct. Any other questions? Chris?
Mrs. Wagner, you said something about school pride and how it's at like an all-time low and whatnot. What are some of your ideas that we can fix school pride other than like engagement-wise?
Okay. Fixing school pride is, I think, a twofold thing. One is you have to enhance the current curriculum. I think that's a big thing, is you have to excite the kids and want them to be excited to go to school. You want them to say, wow, I'm doing amazing things in this class and this is great and I'm so looking forward to going tomorrow. I think that's the first thing, is you really, truly do have to look at the curriculum and tailor it to the students' needs. If they're looking for a certain thing, like physics, we need to be going full-heartedly to try to find a physics teacher. That's what the school district is calling for. So I think that's part of it, is really tailoring the curriculum to the needs of the students. And I think the second part of it is increasing community engagement as much as possible. I know I keep saying it, but that's the fact. When I went to school here, whenever you went to a home game, those stands were full. It did not matter what the home game was, those stands were full. And when you went to an away game, parents were carpooling together to attend to support those children. And thank goodness, our sports and music programs are stellar. At this point in time, they are stellar. The stands are starting to fill up again. So I think it's things like that, that once the school gets back on track with the curriculum and just livening up the spirit of things, you need to start to make things exciting again. They need to want to be there instead of the opposite right now of 2:30, I'm out the door and I gotta go, and nobody thinks twice about it. So it's the sports programs, it's the arts programs, it's getting clubs in there that students want to engage in, and then looking at the curriculum as well.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I have time for one more question. The buzzer's about to go off. If anybody has a question, Mr. Clark.
Paul Clark, Town of Lumberland. Mr. LaFoot, I've spoken to the board many times, try to get them to understand. The state of New York is doing a pretty good job right now of transferring the cost of education to the state away from the taxpayer. A lot of people received the tax relief credit, homeowners this year. That was actually credit that was given to you to make up for that increase in your school and your town taxes. Also, I think you saw this year in the state budget, there was more money put into education. Now, here's the problem we have at Elbridge. As you know, labor is one of the major costs in education. It's estimated to be about 70%. When you take the tax levy increase of only $69,000 and a limited amount of state aid and a limited amount of reserve, how can you then satisfy the needs of labor, say with a 3.5% increase, when you have no money to do that with? And if you do that, then where does that money come from down the road? Does it come from programs? Does it come from increasing taxes? Do you have a plan to not bust the tax cap levy?
So we are continuing to reduce costs. Over the years, as teachers have retired, we have not retired teachers. We've distributed the workload and and done more with the same number of staff, or fewer. The plan going forward is dependent on a number of things. The effects of state aid, and the plan is to continue to cut costs, wherever that may be. We don't know in the future what we're going to cut, but we have to cut. The other option is to go for the supermajority vote. So at that time, we would have to make that determination. Cutting programs or going for a majority vote. But it's going to be a plan that's going to be developed, not today, but when we get to that point.
Okay, I'm sure the candidates would love to field questions after our meeting, so don't hesitate to ask them more when we adjourn our meeting. Okay, thank you very much, everybody.
the annual district meeting, where we'll open this meeting. And then there'll be a brief presentation from Mr. Lewis. Correct? Brief. Followed by the rules of order and qualification of the voter that Mrs. Robertson will read for us. And, correct, yes. And essentially that meeting will stay open until after the vote ends at 9 p.m. on May the 17th. Okay? Right after that, we'll open our regular meeting as soon as we're done with the first part. We'll open our regular meeting where the regular Board of Ed meeting that you're typically used to seeing. So, let's open this meeting with a pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So the first thing we're going to have is our brief budget presentation.
So you will have before you the official budget statement that contains the budget that we drafted last month's meeting and all of the required documentation for education law. This was available to the public as well. I see there are no copies left. I was trying to be more conservative and save trees. It is on the website if you would like to download it. If you'd like a hard copy, it is also available in the Mackenzie office, in your senior high school office, and the Sunshine Hall Library. And I am willing to get you a copy as well.
Thank you. Item 201, the rules of order / qualification of voters.
Legally, we do need to read through this, so please bear with me. During the public comment, we will have a chance to ask the superintendent or our district treasurer any question on the budget that you would like. And we will acknowledge you for speaking. And questions must pertain to the propositions and one question per person. Voting will take place on Tuesday, May 17th, 2016 at the Eldred Central High School in Eldred, New York between the hours of 11 a.m. and 9 p.m. Qualifications for voting: you must be a citizen of the United States, 18 years of age or over, must be a resident of the school district for 30 days or more preceding the date of the vote, must be registered for general election and meet qualification number 3 above, which is the 30-day residential, and you must be registered for permanent voter registration with the school. There will be one digital system voting machine. Registration books will be divided by last names. There will be information available pertaining to the use of the voting machine and a ballot on display. The closing of the vote will take place at 9 p.m. on May 17th, providing all present have been given the opportunity to cast a ballot. The custodian of the vote will oversee the registration and voting, and they will verify all the results. Notice is hereby given that a public hearing of the qualified voters of the Eldred Central School District, a school district of the state of New York located in counties of Orange and Sullivan, will be held at the Eldred Central School in the district on May 5th, 2016 at 7 o'clock for the presentation of the proposed budget for the following school year. The budget will be available for review no later than May 2nd and thereafter at school buildings and the district office. Notice is further given that the annual meeting of the qualified voters of the school district will be held at the Eldred Central School on May 17th, 2016 between the hours of 11 a.m. and 9 p.m., at which time the polls will be open to vote by voting machine. Proposition 1, The annual budget of the school district for the fiscal year 2016-17 of $16,989,213 will be adopted, and the requisite portion thereof to be raised by taxation on the taxable property of the school district is hereby authorized. Proposition 2, the Board of Education of the school district is hereby authorized to levy taxes annually in the amount of $14,500 and to pay over such monies to the Board of Trustees of the Sunshine Hall Free Library. The qualified voters of the Elder Central School District are authorized to elect one candidate as a member of the Board of Education to serve a 5-year term beginning July 1st, 2016 and ending June 30th, 2021. And at this time, if you have any questions for the superintendent or the district treasurer.
Under A, the adoption of the following proposition. Under 202, it says 2015-16.
I read it correctly.
I know you read it correctly, and that's what Joe wanted. I just want to point it out. So it needs to say 2016.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Thanks.
Thank you. That's fine.
That's my question for Ms. Lewis or Mr. If you were to ratify a contract tonight, a 3-year contract, which budget would it affect?
It would affect the budget coming forward, so it would affect this budget year.
It would affect next budget.
I'm sorry, but when I say this budget year, I'm talking about 16-17. It would go into effect July 1st.
Okay, but it's a 3-year contract.
I can't comment on that.
Were it to affect every budget going forward.
That's correct.
So, in effect, the contract is settled now. It affects everything going forward. You have no control of the budget because the contract supersedes your discretionary power on the budget. In other words, you can't change the contract. You have to satisfy the contract.
That's not completely true because in the past, when we had concerns with our budget, the Faculty Association came to us and offered to nullify and renegotiate their contract, which we did. So that's not a true statement.
Any other questions? John?
Bond.
Oh, Bob, I'm sorry. I'm Mike.
Yep. Fine, is this on public comment right now?
It's
Just
really-
questions
it's
with regards to-
questions
Okay,
for the propositions. Okay, so you know other questions? This week, oh, I see somebody drive.
Just for clarification for the crowd, how much will this increase people's taxes? It's a little bit of a trick question, since you're going to get all kicked back with the salary cap.
I can't hear you. Stand up, please.
Sorry, I'll stand up. I actually asked if you could estimate how much will bring up people's taxes. And I said it's a trick question somewhat, since we're going to get kicked back in January for anything that goes up, correct? But you got our kickback check in January.
Well, overall, it's only a $68,000 tax increase overall, so it's minimal. That's mostly.
Whatever I was getting.
Okay, this meeting will stay convened until the day of the vote, which is May 17th at 11 a.m.
Okay, moving right into our regular meeting, which means say the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
department reports, all of our principal and business and municipal force report were submitted in writing. So we're going to just gloss right over that and go right to public comment limited to the consent agenda, 401 to 703. So, public comment limited to the consent agenda, guys. Okay? Anybody have something to say that wants to make a comment with you directly regarding our consent agenda? Okay. Yes. So, that means we need a motion to accept our consent agenda. In reading the consent agenda, I just want to point out that we have 6.01. One of the greatest days in the teacher's life is the day he was appointed to Peter She's superintendent. Congratulations, Mr. Jennings.
Is this the town's resolution, or is that major?
I actually think that was the same resolution that this board passed. I changed. Oh yeah, that's long, and I did the same thing. You have to read it up meetings. Sit there.
I appreciate your comment. Yes. No, we'll get back to this. Hold that thought. Okay, I'm sorry. It's my. The other thing I want to point out is, we have a couple of, we're going to employ a couple of other people, but it just jumped off the page, 6.03. Is that an ego twin?
I was ordered out of the house.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? I just want to point out those couple of things that jumped off the page. Any discussion? Okay. Right, so let's just review. 703, we're going to merge our wrestling teams again. It'll be the Eldred, Liberty, Sullivan West combination program, for all modified junior varsity and varsity wrestling program. I just want to point that out as well. Okay.
And I would also like to give credit to the fact that those three school districts go out of their way to make this happen for the small group of boys, I think it's all boys, the small group of students who really want this. And that's an example of how we collaborate in this county, tiny as we are, to make things happen for kids. It's not a whole bunch of wrestlers out there, but we're making it happen.
Could we change the dates on 603 and 604? 16, 17? Or is that? Yes. All right, so, any other discussion? Then let's go, Brian?
Yes.
Carol?
Yes.
Linda?
Yes.
Commodore? Yes. And I'll say yes. Thank you. That takes us to old business. We have no old business? Does anybody have any new business? Yes, sir.
One of the things that makes my job enjoyable is the people I come to work with every day in this district. And on my worst day, there's an individual who can turn a day around for me and make it bearable. And though I was made aware a couple of months ago that what I'm about to announce may happen, it came to fruition last week. I'm going to read the letter, but I'll let the letter speak for itself. Dear Board of Education, it's with many mixed emotions that I submit my letter of request for approval of my retirement from the district effective July 31st, 2016. To say I found my ideal job late in life is an understatement. I consider it a privilege to serve the Board of Education and an honor to work with the superintendent. This job has been rewarding yet challenging. Each day has been exciting and satisfying, serving the students and staff of the district. It is most important to me that the transition for the board and superintendent be as smooth as possible. I value what Superintendent Dufour and I have done in this office, and I will help in whatever way I can to transition from the job. Working closely with the Board of Education and Superintendent Dufour has been an incredible experience, and I will certainly miss each one of you. Thank you very much for allowing me to serve as your district clerk and as the superintendent's administrative assistant. It's been my pleasure, one of the best experiences of my life on your office. Made my job bearable. She's that smile in the office every morning for each and every one of us that work in this district and for each and every one of our students. Faculty, staff, students that come into her office each and every day, whether with a smile on their face or a tear in their eye. Bonnie is a counselor, consoler. She's there for each and every one of the kids and every one of the adults.
You're here.
She's put in 9 years of service to the district, 6 years working for me, which is a feat unto itself. And I personally am going to sorely miss her and miss seeing her each and every morning. And I know I speak to the board and everyone in this room that we wish you well, and I know you're right down the street and I have your phone number. Accept retirement because it is a law now.
Not a chance. Do I have a motion to accept Mrs. Robinson as read and accept Mrs. Robinson?
Does she have to stay?
Somebody has to.
Doesn't she have to stay if we don't?
Regrettably, I'll make the motion.
Regrettably, I'll second it. Congratulations.
There will be no mistake. Ron?
I have to go first. Sure.
I think that was a yes. Carol?
Yes.
Linda? Yes. Congratulations.
You know, I'd like to say one thing too, because I mean, Bonnie was over there with a health question, you know, and dialogue, and I don't even know if I said hello, Bonnie, but thank you for being here.
Thank you all. It has been wonderful. The best job ever.
Well, we appreciate all you do for us. Okay. Any other new business? Let's move to public comment then. Mr. Cobb?
I was just wondering if the board was going to be considering a non-voting position for a student on the board to bring issues that Mr. Weber brought to the board, I guess, last month or the month before.
We've had that conversation in the past, once or twice, I think. I think Mr. Clark was able to share some insight years past. Do you want to share that again for us?
Well, just the fact that I know we had a student council representative, a student representative, and I don't know what happened to those years. But it was a good thing because On a few occasions, they got a little bit too much into the politics, but in most cases, they brought concern that were coming up from the schools.
Am I missing something? Okay, go ahead.
Right, but you're suggesting a seat at the table and a non-voting.
A non-voting position where Mr. Weber is concerned, it could have been brought to him and then he could have brought it to the board. Obviously, he did it in a public comment setting, but I'm just saying that if there was an individual that the student body could go to that would speak for them on regarding any topic.
I believe, first of all, that has to be voted on by the public in order for that to happen. And
So this is more than just a simple amendment or?
Yes.
So we do have a student council.
We do have, student council representatives that report to us every month, either Griffin or his,
Okay, are they reporting to you privately, or how do we find out about what they're reporting to you?
It's their public report.
Oh.
It's on the agenda.
Comes in under mine.
Yeah, it comes in with Mr. Krebs. Mr. Krebs typically introduces the sports report as well as the student council report.
Guys, I've seen it done a couple of different ways. The way we do it is the way you just described it. Griffin comes in as the PT, as the student government president, right? And reports on Mr. Krebs. I've seen boards, I think Monroe actually has a student representative sit with the board. So it's like a sixth board member, but where the student doesn't vote, but the student sits, and which is an educational opportunity for the student. I've also seen something in between, which is schools will have a student report actually on the agenda. So it's not under Mr. Craig, it's actually a student government report, which is a separate line, and it gives it a little bit more distinction. If the board would like me to, I can kind of provide a couple of examples of the ways that other boards of education do it. Consider maybe possibly voting on changing the way we do it. Because I think there would be a benefit in hearing more from the students.
And then we'll have to check to see how we go about making that change. Is it something that the voters would have to vote on?
If you have a student senate table, we would close that one.
Any other additional,
Any other configuration, you can approve yourself.
I think I remember it's the second time that question has been asked this year, so I think it's worthwhile.
Yeah, no, we should.
Yeah. I'm glad to pull together a bunch of information.
I just want to say, obviously I only have one left, but I think in the future, it would be an awesome thing to have the student council members. I know that in to a certain Hunter Means High School, there's actually a plaque, the board is sitting here, it's right on the wall. And it has all the names of the students who've been the student body president or the representative or whatever, and then it stops at, I think, 2002. And I think it would be a cool thing, because that's another thing that generates a little bit more pride, is that we know that if you put in the hard work, years down the road, even that little, 2-inch thing on the wall, it's cool because it's like, you're recognized, the board recognizes you, and not only that, but, in future years, when you have, when you're growing up and you have kids and stuff like that, your peers who grew up with see that, I don't know, it's just nostalgic and it's good.
We have the authority on the council to resurrect that practice and design and purchase a plaque, and then we will annually continue the tradition.
There's one in there, would we do something
I don't
else?
know which one you're talking about. I think it was something a little different, but it would be best to start fresh going forward. And the student council was only reactivated for years ago, so we could actually retroactively put the name on the plaque. But I would suggest you go back to the next student council meeting, put it up as a motion, design the plaque. You have the funds, you get the plaque made up, and then we'll find a prominent location.
Okay.
And I don't know if you agree would be best, possibly down in the main lobby.
Yeah. We, so recently at one of our meetings, we voted on it's a pretty big thing of how we're going to organize all of our record keeping, and one of that is that we need our councils as like they do the court system, the Supreme Court system, the last name and then the word council afterwards. So instead of the if it was me, instead of saying Griffin Major, it would say like Major Council, or maybe next year it's the Sherwood Council, whatever the last name is. There's plenty of different ways we can design it. I think that would be cool. So, but that's up to the student council.
Just one more quick thing on what Franz had to say. There's students over there, there's students here, it's not unusual. And every time Griffin and Chris or one of you guys speak, when I was in high school, I never went to a school board meeting. I don't think I even knew that we had a school board or what a school board does, because I was a kid, and I didn't get involved in that stuff. And I think it's fantastic. First of all, it's very difficult for students to stand up in a room full of adults and say anything. But you guys come well prepared, always with some kind of, good observation or some request, and I congratulate you for it, because it's hard to do, and it's very helpful, at least to me as an individual board member, and I think it's wonderful. So thank you for continuing to come.
Thank you.
And most folks come as a class requirement, is that not true? I don't mean to minimize that, I mean to say that that's a good thing, that it is a class requirement, that's what I mean.
Well, I harass people all the time, I always yell, I'm like, go to the meeting,
I have a request, and maybe it should have come under old business, I don't know, but the mentor program was mentioned tonight and talked about as one of the opportunities for students, and a good idea. And so I would like to ask, I think we have a mentor program, so I would like to know how it's going, and if there's anything that the board can do to strengthen it, support it,
I think what
grow
the
it.
candidates were talking about is a little different. We do a student mentor program. I think what Mrs. Wagner was talking about is an adult mentor program. Am I accurate?
Yes.
So we do have a mentor program. Mr. Gretzky speaks to it. It's run by a guidance department, but I don't think that's what Mrs. Wagner is actually talking about.
Okay, I wasn't even thinking that there were two different things. So,
Mrs. Wagner, am I accurate?
Correct, we're very accurate, yes.
So, we actually just reinstated the senior to 7th grade mental program at the school. Well, I shouldn't say reinstated, we sort of revived what they had previously, which this year it's the National Honor Society only. Juniors and seniors, I believe. Sorry?
It's not just the National Honor Society.
This year? Who else is involved?
There's two seniors juniors that I know that are on Honor Society that are mentally, because they missed my class the day for the Rose program.
Well, we just, at the beginning of the year, I spoke with Ms. Gallo, who's in charge of the program.
It's not just Honor
Okay.
Society.
Okay, well, I know that whatever it is now, it was expanded in this year to be much more of the senior and junior class. And yeah, I believe what Mrs. Wagner saying is more, correct me if I'm wrong, like an unpaid internship with local businesses or whatever, so.
Okay, any other public comment? Mr. Wu?
Yes. On behalf of the Faculty Association, I'd first like to recognize two people, Bonnie Robertson, for her service to the district. Secondly, we had a teacher that was recognized recently, that's Tom Borstat at Sullivan County School Board. Outstanding. So, on another note, as a representative of the Faculty Association, I wanted to take one moment to thank the Board of Education for their service and their hard work. As a faculty, we do take pride and energy into our work every day. And those on the Board of Education, you volunteer, you're given an extremely difficult task, taking a pragmatic approach to a school district that must follow state and national regulations. And yet, this school district has managed to provide the best possible education through the support provided by the Board of Education, to faculty and administration. We appreciate their support and trust in the expertise of administrators and teachers to know what's best for our students. Working together with the board, we can continue to make positive gains for our students. In terms of the upcoming election, regardless of the outcome, we want to thank Amador LaFoot for his hard work and service to the community. As a leader in a precarious position, he has been a calm, thoughtful presence on the board, leading by example. On leadership, former championship UCLA basketball coach John Wooden stated, "Little things make big things happen." None of us can completely control state or national education policy, but we can control the message being sent to our students. Let's work together on the little things, working as a team, demanding the most from our students, and supporting each other. In the small communities, big things will happen through our small actions.
Any further public comment? No? Okay.
Can we just recognize the gentleman in uniform because it's wonderful to have him. We just love to have you here. Thank you. Are you a graduate here?
Yeah, I graduated last year.
Oh, last year, okay. How's the service going? Do you get seasick? Good, welcome. Congratulations, and thank you for your service.
Okay, if there is no further public comment, then we need a motion to adjourn.
Second. Yes.
Yes.
I'll say good night.